Christmas is getting very close, and if you've been following me for a while, you may realize that I do these types of videos occasionally. Not very often, but I do try to make these at least once a year. I highlight the setting of the holiday, whether it's spooky season or in this case it's Christmassy and cozy. And I try to match the setting of the game with the current time and vibe of the year. So I have collected a list of my all-time favorite Christmas/cozy games that I will without a doubt come to every single year right around this time. And on top of that, you never know, you may have some incredible additions to this list as well, and if that is the case, I'd be more than happy to hear from you. And number 1, Mafia II. I remember the first time I saw some of the gameplay for Mafia II, and this game had immediately captivated me from the start, which later became one of my favorite games of all time, even to this day. Everything from the story plot and all the way to the voice acting and most importantly the setting of the game. I remember playing this game on my original Xbox One and I had never wanted to play any other game as badly as Mafia 2. When I tell you that this game has ultimately fulfilled my Christmas spirits and left no stone unturned, oh do I mean that statement with every syllable in it. When it snows in the game, it impacts the way your car handles on the road. If you park your vehicle too long on the street while it's snowing, it will pile on top of your vehicle. But then as soon as you take off, the snow gets blown off the more you drive. Your car also leaves snow tracks as you drive and it lasts a pretty fair distance. The detail that was devoted to this game is still beyond impressive, and even though to this day I think this game was made ahead of its time, if you're looking for a game that brings that incredible story and brings that cozy Christmas feel, Mafia 2 is an absolute must. And number 2, we have Division 1. I briefly talked about this one on my channel, as a matter of fact, extremely recently, but Division 1 has got to have one of the most impressive visuals to this day. The development team has done such an incredible job recreating that post-apocalyptic New York City setting that oddly feels extremely cozy and Christmassy. I know the fact that it's coming from Ubisoft can sound pretty scary, especially since their games are downscaling in quality a lot, especially as years go by. I can easily justify that statement with Assassin's Creed franchise, but the fact that this game is a bit outdated, the post-apocalyptic feel here is beyond impressive and is still often mentioned to this day. Nobody ever recreated the world so empty and yet so impactful and good as these guys, especially when it comes to the New York City. Just a pure masterpiece in my opinion. And number 3, Days Gone. My all-time favorite place in the world is Scotland. I truly admire that country and I would move there in a heartbeat if I could, if I had the chance and finances to do it. Now, the closest thing we can get to Scotland here in the States is Oregon, and Days Gone was inspired by that setting. I'm sure some of you were probably just listening to me and be like, what does Scotland have anything to do with Days Gone? It doesn't. It was a long-winded answer, I guess. But anyways, I was truly disappointed when Sony declined the sequel for Days Gone and instead they decided to put their resources elsewhere. But Days Gone was certainly one of those games that you play and all of a sudden just pause and simply enjoy the view and the landscapes of the game. Sure, the story was a bit cliche, as some like to argue, and very basic, but everything else in this game was done with so much love and detail. The way your bike would handle in this game was so real and definitely matched that Rockstar quality standard. Once again, it was a shame that the sequel was cancelled, but man do I love to come back to this game and play it at 60 FPS. Once you get to the snow area of the game, that's when you truly get that cozy Christmas feeling. And number 4, Hogwarts Legacy. There's really not much to say but to simply address the special everything about this game. The fact that it's inspired by Scotland landscapes and has that magical feel to it, this game is unbeatable. In fact, Hogwarts Legacy is the only game that will stop you at what you're doing and force you to observe its atmosphere and everything surrounding it. Seeing different creatures running in the forest, seeing different plants that are too lively and reactive to you as a player. Once again, this game is too obvious in my opinion, but this video has got to have it. And last but certainly not least, Red Dead Redemption 2. The lack of the next-gen console port is still a bit disappointing in my opinion, and I'm saying that on behalf of the console players, but there is no doubt that this game is a pure masterpiece when it comes to the visuals and certain game mechanics as well. This is the only Rockstar game I've replayed 3 different times, not necessarily completing all the side quests and the storyline, but definitely completing the whole storyline 3 different times. And the snow setting of this game completely checks out that cozy/Christmas feel 100%. Some will argue that this game is by far the best Rockstar game ever made, including the GTA 5, which is pretty ballsy statement to make, if I have to say so myself, but it is extremely valid. But nonetheless, Red Dead Redemption 2 is kind of like Hogwarts Legacy on this list. It's no-brainer, you gotta have it, just without a question. Once again, if there's another game that comes to mind that you think deserves to be on this list, let me know. If I had to say so myself, these are by far the most gorgeous games ever created, and if you are looking for something cozy to play this time of the year, look no further because these will get you covered.